right, where's Adam? Where's Adam here? Happy birthday.
Thank you.
This is your lovely. Well, I guess this was a birthday gift for you, right? Happy birthday. Happy birthday, man. How old? I didn't start till I was 18 years old. So I'll get into that. That was his gift for his birthday, huh? Was it a surprise?
Yeah. That's all you get.
Now you're gonna buy dinner tonight. That's how it works. There's always trade-offs. Do you want to say anything or no?
No.
Okay. All right, so welcome everyone. This is our first stop of our UK tour, and I want to thank, of course, Abs and the staff and Zach and everyone that helped you put this together. Everyone that's involved in creating this. We're having a multi-day tour here through the UK, and it's one of the places that I was able to compete in many years ago, and I've developed a huge fan base and following. I've come out to events throughout the years, but never done a tour such as this where I'm able to interact with everyone. And when I wanted to put this event together, I said, I want to be able to interact with the fans more face-to-face than being at an expo and the long lines and all that stuff, so it's kind of exclusive. So we got together and all these people that wanted to host this kind of event, and obviously, they helped me do that. So thank you guys for participating. This is our first stop, and I just came off the plane from Vegas, and I am very excited to be here. But as you guys know, I've retired from the stage, Mr. Olympia competitions. This will be my 5th year retired now. Come on in, you guys down. I've been retired now for 5 years, and I'm still as active as pretty much everyone is. I'm traveling around doing the promotions, events, representing a lot of my branding that I developed over the years. I had a dream and a vision. I started training at the age of 18, but I picked up books from early on, from magazines were the only thing that we could see where, who was out there competing. Such as this guy next to me. He was a big idol of mine when I was coming up, and I used to see these guys in the magazines, and they would come alive, and I would read the routines, and that's how I kind of learned. And today's society has a different vision because they can actually see minute to minute, hour to hour, all their favorite people working out and learning tips, and we're putting out a lot of different media, which is really, really advanced from what I was experienced from the very beginning. So I started looking at books when I was probably 12 years old, and I grew up on a farm in a small place in Massachusetts on the East Coast, United States. And not anyone ever really leaves that area, so for me I kind of caught an interest. I wanted to be fit. I never really imagined becoming what I ever became, but I saw these pictures. I saw Chris Dickerson, who was a former Mr. Olympia, and I said, man, I want to look like that. I told my older brother, and he thought I was crazy at the time. I'm the youngest of 7 kids. And, I kind of just learned a little bit. I was an athlete in high school, and then actually when I joined the gym for the first time, it was on my 18th birthday in August, which I was going into college in that fall. And I actually started pursuing a degree in criminal justice. I wanted to be a police officer, but I started lifting weights, and I advanced so quickly that a lot of people at the gym took notice. I kind of learned. I picked up magazines in the gym. I watched guys work out. I really didn't know much about nutrition, and that being a huge factor in how I had great success later on. But I was able to develop a body because I had good genetics. I was actually, when I was playing football in high school, I was always the strongest, fastest kid. I had a good body with a lean, muscular physique, but when I started lifting weights, I grew rather quickly, and I stayed lean. And I was coached into competing in my first bodybuilding show about 6 months after I started lifting weights, and I thought, man, I don't know anything about this. I don't know the poses. I don't know how to diet. And they kind of helped me from the gym side, and then I competed, I got second place in that show, and from then I was kind of hooked on getting on stage. Next thing you know, I started competing in more shows. I became a teenage national champion at 19, competing against Branch Warren, who later on I competed against the Mr. Olympia competition. He actually beat me in the overall. He was 17, I was 19. And that's when I really knew, okay, I want to do this as a career. I just graduated my associate's degree in criminal justice, and I was working a security job and just kind of making ends meet enough to be able to buy my chicken breast and pay for my gym membership. I mean, that's all I really cared about, to be honest. And from there, I just kind of, I picked a show to do, and I competed, and I won that. And then the next thing I know, I was going for my pro card at 23. I won the first time out, and I got sponsored by Joe Weider, and the guy who brought Schwarzenegger over from Austria. He brought me to California, and I was able to take pictures for all the magazines, Muscle and Fitness, Flex magazine, and that kind of put me at the next level. I was given an endorsement contract and starting to make money, and I think that's kind of everyone's dream and vision, is to be able to make the money. And I didn't realize at that point, like, really what bodybuilding was. I thought it was just, hey, you did competitions and there wasn't much to it besides being in the gym and training. And I know I'm stopped every day. Even now, even flying over here, people say, oh man, what do? You look like you're a bodybuilder or whatever. I said, well, I've been retired, but I actually, travel around now doing appearances. And, they think this misconception is, like, people like myself, when I was at my peak, we trained for 6 or 8 hours a day. They don't realize that everything has to be structured. And I was able to link up pretty early on with a great nutritionist. I think that really taught me a great background of what I did, and that was Chris Aceto, who's actually been here and done seminars here. He kind of taught me how to eat and how to structure my meals, where I would eat every 3 hours. I would eat 6 portion meals a day. Of course, the breakfast, the meal before and after training, the most important meals of the day. But I tell everyone that's on a workout program, you still have to eat consistently. The diet is what really fuels your workouts. And I think training each body part once every 5 to 7 days is sufficient. Some people like to train body parts twice a week, but when I was trying to be as big as I could, I needed a little more rest time. I was a big, high volume trainer, so I was someone that I did set after set in the gym. My repetitions always were 8 to 12 repetitions on everything I did. And more importantly, I like to do a lot of different angles. So if I was training biceps, I would do up to 20 sets. It seems like a lot, especially for the beginner and intermediate people. But I think that the muscle really responded well from the expansion of the tissue. So it was rest times, 45 to 60 seconds between each set, that really catapulted me higher than most people at my age. I was really focused on the training. The diet, I remember putting that diet on my refrigerator, and I'd eat that 6 meal a day diet. And I'd have everything structured. I just ate the same thing every day, and that's really what gave me kind of the discipline, and that continued on through my career. And as you guys, a lot of you people follow me, I was able to have great success in many arenas until, I got up to the Olympia level. I won many pro shows, but, I had to get through who I consider one of the greatest bodybuilders, if not the greatest, Ronnie Coleman, to be able to battle to win Mr. Olympia. And at the time, it was very frustrating. I was second to Ronnie 4 times before I won it in 2006, and I was able to hold that title for 2 years. I lost it once to Dexter Jackson and came back and won it twice. And I think you see a lot of guys that placed second to Mr. Olympia that never really made it past that point because they either got defeated or they just didn't have the mindset to keep going. And I felt that, I was a little stubborn too, I think. That's why I kind of kept going. And I truly believed every time I competed at the Olympia that I was going to win it. And if you look back in the history and you read a lot about, like, my background, you'll notice those Olympia battles with Ronnie Coleman. Those were like where I really got known. And that was when I was like 27, 28, 29, like late 20s. And Ronnie was, 10 years older than me. And he had held the title, many times. He was what they, at the time, called unbeatable. And I never really believed that, even in the case, we hear it even this year, like, with Phil Heath going for number 8. I think that, anyone on any day can be beaten, although everyone is favored that's won it several times. And I know that's the case because I was there and I did that. Unfortunately, I lost after 2 times, and I was able to regain it, which was very hard for anyone else to do. I don't know if anyone's ever done that in history. So, my mindset was always the same from day one. When I started training, I mentioned I started the gym at 18 years old. I had a vision of the kind of physique I wanted to build, but I didn't expect to go as far as I ever did. And I never thought about being Mr. Olympia until the first time I was second to Ronnie Coleman, which happened, or was just reminded in the English Grand Prix out here in 2000, where I was able to stand next to Ronnie. And it was 1-2, him and I, and then I said, wow, I can actually win this. And next year I went and placed a controversial second at the 2001 Olympia, which I thought I should have won. And that could have changed history if I didn't. But I'm very thankful for the opportunity to be able to build up until I was able to sustain that title and felt like I was deserving of it, because Mr. Olympia is a huge step. And I remember looking at pictures of Dorian Yates and Lee Haney, and then of course Ronnie was my idol, and here I am standing next to these guys and beating a lot of guys that were my idols. That was a little difficult for me. I mean, that was, because sometimes you have to wake up and say, wow, I'm actually a top contender in the world. It's not really planned that way. Coming from the small town I mentioned where I grew up, it's really hard to imagine that I was ever going to leave, because most people don't. And my dream was to go to California. I'm not going to lie. It was to be a police officer and ride a motorcycle in California. That was my goal. Instead, I became a bodybuilder and I was lifting weights in California instead of riding a motorcycle. That was a dream come true. I ended up in Las Vegas shortly after winning Night of Champions and my first Arnold Classic. I actually moved to Las Vegas and I was able to train amongst the best gyms. I feel that Vegas, because of the 24-hour city, gave me the greatest opportunity to train and go for the Mr. Olympia title. So that's why I actually made that move from California over. And I was training in that atmosphere, and I think, Vegas is kind of like, it's like a little what they call Mecca there, because there's a lot of gyms, and, you had a lot of top guys training at the time. Gustavo Bedell was there, Dennis Wolf is there still. We had a lot of top contenders at the time that were starting to move out there. Chris Cormier was there part-time, and Sean Ray had been there, Paul Villette was there. So there were a lot of big names that were migrating to Vegas because of the atmosphere to train, and like I said, the 24-hour cities. And I thought that was an advantage, because I was a guy that liked to train all different times, and anyone that's seen my videos knew that, sometimes I train in the morning, afternoon, night. I mean, there were days I was in the gym 4 times a day. And when I trained for a show, there was usually 2 cardio sessions and 2 weight sessions involved. And why I would do 2 weight sessions is I would do like split training that you read about, because I felt that, number one, I could give more intensity in my workouts if I split the body parts. So I would train like 2 body parts a day, 1 larger body part, 1 smaller body part. But also it was a great way for me not to have to over cardio myself to get in the best shape possible. I would hit my metabolism twice by, doing the weight training session, because I still feel, and I think a lot of science shows that, when you work out with weights, it's still more beneficial than someone standing on a treadmill or walking or stairs or whatever. I think the weight training is going to be a better way, because for your body to sustain that pump and train, it's going to burn a lot more calories. So I always suggest to people who try to get in the best shape possible, if it's in their routine, to do it, split training. So you're hitting the metabolism more than just once a day in 1 workout. You hear these people that are trying to get everything into 1 workout, and I know that, jobs and lifestyle sometimes restrict people from doing certain things, but I was always one that did my fasted cardio in the morning, always worked best for me. So I got up in the morning, I did at least 30 to 40 minutes of cardio. I eat a couple meals, I go to the gym, and I would weight train. And then if I, didn't weight train again later, if I did, I would do either my cardio after the weight session, or I'd do cardio later at night. And that's always worked best for me. So always, suggestion is always do your cardio after the weight training session, okay? You don't tap into glycogen and break down muscle tissue. It's always best to do it after. But that's how I usually got in the best shape possible, and I did that routine. I did different body parts moving, and I usually trained on at least 5 days a week. I do splits where I would do 3 days on, 2 days off. You know, sometimes I train 5 days straight, 2 days off. But some people, the weekends, I mean, that's where they kind of take their time away and, you know, stay consistent, because obviously people aren't necessarily training for bodybuilding shows or trying to get in shape, you know, where they get as lean as a bodybuilding show. So I always suggest to people, you know, train each body part once every 5 to 7 days and have at least 4 or 5 days to actually train those body parts, whatever fits in their schedule.